Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. We're back after spring break. Tate, Mathews, hope you had a nice break. And we need to recap basketball because the spring is here.
The spring is upon us. Had a great break. Hope you did as well. Had another first on the girls' state tournament. Still not quite there, but man, we keep on inching closer. So, excited to put a bow on basketball and then start spring sports. It's here.
It's
whether
here.
you were ready or not.
Lots of teams traveling over break. Lots of Floridas.
Lots of Florida. Weather wasn't. We've had a nice run of spring break weathers in a row. Not so much this week, this time.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't what the teams were wanting. A lot of rain.
Especially Snowmageddon coming in on the way out of town. Oh, what was that?
Anytime you miss a good snow day in school, it's kind of a bummer.
And then, we weren't here last week. And then it snowed more in Memphis than it did here. Like, when's the last time that happened? It's all those dang, I don't know. I almost got political there. I'm not going to do it.
What were you going to say? Because we're using too many plastic straws.
Probably, or, climate change.
Which I'm not against the wood straws or whatever they are.
Paper. Don't get my wife started on the paper straws. Jeez.
I guess they wouldn't be wood straws. That'd be bad still, wouldn't it?
Well, no.
Unless you brought your own straw.
Yeah, you can use it multiple times. Yeah, bring your own. Kind of like bring your own grocery sack.
Aldi. Okay, let's talk some hoops here.
Do I need to get my hat out?
For us? Let's talk some state tournament basketball. So, a reminder for the viewers, the last time we had a show, we were heading into the girls' state tournament, and the boys' sub-state games were still to be played. So we're going to talk about those games. Let's start with the girls' state tournament. Certainly, congratulations, and we're proud of Coach Brock and the Page girls. And what was probably disappointing to them, they lose in the state semis, but last year they make the state tournament for the first time. This year they win a game, they make it to the semis. They lose a heartbreaker to Jackson Southside 49-46, but they set a record at the school for most wins, 31. So it's the old shoot for the stars, fall into the clouds there for Page High School. Great year from them.
Great year. What does that say about your team when losing in the state semifinals is a disappointment?
And by the way,
that's not right. They were disappointed that they lost. It wasn't it was disappointing. They thought they were going to. The goal was to go and win that thing, and I get it. That's what it should have been. That's how good of a team this is. That was the expectation.
How about this week's gym, Tate? That class.
Yes.
Seniors, 110 wins in 4 years. I think they played something like 131 games. Pretty darn good run for the Page Lady Patriots.
Well, you never disappoint. You came with the gym very early this week. Love that. The gym never disappoints. Your research never disappoints. I'm starting to think you might have a research team, which you don't. But I was going to ask you that. I'd love to know. This senior class has got to set the all-time win total.
And they did, obviously. And the thing they talked to, and look, they've got others, but when you talk about Page, you have to talk about Mackenzie Cochran, Lily Wilkin. Cochran was a finalist for Miss Basketball, and really I thought Wilkin could have been.
Yeah.
I thought they could have had two, but just great careers from them. And you see their quotes after the game, and it's the being over kind of thing that's probably the biggest letdown to them, but it was pretty neat. That Dyer County game, that first game, and I thought it was interesting in that, and I didn't blame them for doing it. I think some would look at Wilkin and Cochran's performance at the state tournament, especially scoring, and say, they didn't quite do what they have done before, but I was thinking about you. Dyer County and Jackson Southside did what you always say. Let's make sure these people don't beat us.
Right.
And what ended up happening, you had Brayley Bushman, who was a little more open than typical. She jumps out and scores 23 points in that first game with Dyer County. 15 in the first half. So she stepped her game up a little bit. Those teams were so focused on Cochran and Wilkin, both of those games, that someone else had to step up. Mary Claire Pike was another young lady who stepped up in those 2 games. So I didn't think it was so much about them not performing like they normally do. Those teams just weren't going to have it. And I thought it was smart.
Was smart. And then that's what it's all about. Braley had her opportunity, and she's done it before. It's not like we didn't know that she was capable of scoring, but that's what it's all about when you get to this. Hopefully you're playing a team that is good. You're not playing a dud, in the state tournament. Now, 4 classes, sometimes that can happen, as we saw some on the boys' side. But anyways, she stepped up. She hit 10 of her first 16 shots on fire, and that's how you know it's a good team when the other 2 are being taken out of the game, and that's okay. They're gonna serve the team in other ways, and as long as we get the win, and they did, and it was a big one.
Wilkin ended up with 10 points, 8 rebounds in that game. Cochran, 9 points, 4 steals. Right. Again, they found other ways.
That's right.
To help, and then 10 and 9. It's not like that's come on.
Right.
Then you move on to the semifinals. Like the quarterfinals, Page jumped out to an early lead. They actually were ahead by 13 points in the second quarter. I think this is what adds to the disappointment. They were up 13, and then by the half it was down to 8, and then Southside just kept chipping away. End up taking a lead early in the fourth, 38-37. Wilkin comes right back, hits a 3 to put Page back up 40-38, and then here's where it really turned. Southside converts a 3-point play to go up 1, and then Cochran fouls out. Then a few minutes later, Wilkin fouls out. So after that, with those 2 not on the floor, it was really tough. Although I'll give Page credit. There were some girls in the game that I haven't seen in the game all year.
Yeah.
And they're playing on this big stage. They're down 49-42. They cut it back to 3 and actually have the ball. As the game is ending, they just couldn't. Without those 2 in there, they just couldn't muster up a play.
I was going to say, which I get. For those 2 to foul out at that point and them to end the game 49-46, those younger, those newer players that came in, and like you said, on that stage, to keep it that close, I think is really admirable.
Bushman ends up with 18 points.
What a state tournament.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Pike was 13. Again, Cochran and Wilkin combined for 11 on only 5 of 19 shooting. But I give them credit. They weren't forcing things because I'm telling you, they were being covered.
Yeah. Well, you knew when you saw Jackson Southside, you were going to see a different type of athleticism than you had seen previously, right?
No doubt about it. So again, congratulations, Coach Brock, Page. Just a great season. We're certainly proud of them. Nothing to be ashamed of at all. Making it all the way to the semifinals, which was the best result for any of our teams. Unfortunately, it was our only team to make the state tournament on the boys' side in the sectionals.
Real quick. Sorry, you're on a rhythm, but I do think it's important. You were part of it at Franklin with the run you had. Great run of kids that they've had there on the ladies' side in basketball at Page. They were going to win a lot of games with that group no matter what. I think Coach Brock did a great job. I think he was the right guy for that team as much as they were a big part of it. Somebody could have come in there and set those kids. You know what I'm saying? Right guy, right team, and you get 110 wins.
No, that's very well said because just his style of play, and he also gives a little bit of freedom on offense.
Right.
I think he was perfect for that team. And listen, a very wise man told me one time, when something goes right for multiple years, the person in charge has something to do with it.
One would think so.
I've seen some talented teams not do well.
That's right.
So, yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Shout out to Coach Brock, who's really a coaching legend here in this county.
Yep.
He definitely is. All right, let's talk boys sectionals. So we go 0 for 4 in the sectionals. Lose by 9, lose by 10, lose by 5, lose by 8. And as you look at this, probably weren't favored in any of those games. But I thought we would get at least a couple.
Yep.
And just couldn't do it. We'll start off with Page. They go to Fulton, and I'll give them credit. I thought Fulton could have beaten them by a big margin.
I was worried.
And like you pointed out, it's not like they were driving down the road.
Right.
They're driving on the other side of Knoxville. So they have to make that drive. Fulton is one of those teams, right? They've been, I think, 25 times. Coach Wright has been 19 times as a head coach. I don't know how many wins he has, but several. Page is going in there looking to end a 30-year drought of making the state tournament, trying to make their first, or they made their first sectional since '92. So it was kind of a recipe for this one could get ugly. They get down 24 in the third. They cut the thing all the way down to 12, starting the fourth, but they just couldn't quite get it any lower than that. But a great job by Coach Street his first year. They ended with 4 young men in double figures that night. Grant Snyder, 15, Ethan Overstreet, 13, Ryan Lang, 13, Pierce Burrell, 12. And I love this stat. What they did over the last 17 games, Tate, was impressive.
Yeah, it was. And that was the worry. Yeah, I think to go down there and come out of there 60 to 69, I thought that was a great effort, great performance. And, you know, all you can do is go out there and leave it all on the court, give the best effort you can. And if you did, then you got nothing to hang your head about. And I think that's what they did. I think Coach Street did a great job. We knew Fulton is going to be very athletic. They're a good basketball team. And they're coached by a guy who's one of the best to do it. That's pretty tough. Page, 12-5 over their last 17 games.
It's incredible.
You want to get better as the year goes on. I think Coach Street and the Page Patriots definitely got better as the year went on.
He is a great example, and Page this year, it's a great example of, hey, listen, if you've got a good team, coaches, don't be scared to schedule tougher teams.
That's right.
When you're in 3A and there's 4 classes, play the 4A teams.
Play them.
Why not? And Coach Street and Coach Brock, they did that. They both did it. So hats off to them, and I hope they continue to do it because when they played in their league, it seemed easier.
Yes.
Now, on the girls' side, the region probably tougher than this region, 4A.
Well, and in football, I could see, you know, you got to worry about getting hurt, things like that. But, you know, you might, yes, you can get injured in basketball, but not because you're playing a 4A team and they're just physically more dominant.
What tends to happen, fair or not, in basketball, because I've had this happen to me as a coach, really your body of work during the season should be judged better than the tournament because it's longer. But you can win 25 games, and if you get beat in the district tournament, they don't remember 25.
Right.
I can assure you what people remember about the Page boys basketball season is they made the sectional for the first time since 1992. That's what they're talking about.
And I think, gosh, I'm stepping out here, but I'm pretty sure, I think Ringstaff's daddy was the coach.
I don't know that, but that's a good guess.
I think he was. That's
It
how
would make
long
sense.
it's
It would
been.
make sense.
Yeah.
30 years ago? In fact, I would say you're over 90% correct. You have to be.
I think I am.
It's got to be like a 98.
I remember that team.
It's got to be a 98%
They
chance.
were good. Really good.
Fairview Milan. Here was another one. Milan makes it all the way to the state final in 3A. Second trip to the sectional round for Fairview, both underneath Coach McCoy. They were still looking for that first state tournament trip. But I get the sense that it's still building for them. They're going to be like the Page girls in a lot of ways. Now, again, they lost some players, but that sophomore class is a special class there at Fairview. Now, the senior class is too. But they've got enough in that sophomore class. You feel like that might be the one that eventually gets them over the hump either next year or their senior year. Against Milan, they only shot 34% from the three or from the field, 9 for 24 from 2-point range, 1 of 6 from the foul line. Not typical of their team this year. Kennedy Pendergrass ends his career 12 points and 4 assists. Mays McCoy 9 points, 5 rebounds. Carter Durham 5 points, 5 assists. Again, I know they wanted to make the state tournament. They talked about it all year. They were ranked high in the state all year. Finishing up 23-8, losing to an eventual state runner-up, that's not bad.
It's really, really good. And you're right. I think this program just keeps taking steps. And there's no doubt in my mind that within the next 2 years, I thought they were going this year. I thought they were going to get Milan. I knew they were athletic, but, you know, these guys, they're pretty athletic too, you know. So, yeah, I like where that program's headed. We've talked about it before. Got to spend some time in spring ball with Coach McCoy and just listen to him when he's watching a game. I like what he's about. Fairview's going to make it to the Glass House.
31-28 going to the fourth quarter. And that's where I think home can matter. You know, they get outscored in the fourth quarter, what's that, 16-9? I think if you're down 31-28 and you're at home, maybe you have a chance to kind of get over the hump.
Right.
But I think the being on the road probably impacted that a little bit too, which is part of it.
Right. And, you know, I mean, we're fans, right? I saw that not too long ago. Fanatic, right? Sometimes as fans, we lose sight of things. Shot only 34% from the field. Milan had a lot to do with that.
Sure. Good team.
Good team.
Ravenwood, 49, Beach 54. It was the first time that Ravenwood had been that deep. This year was the first time in 5 attempts that they get past the region semifinals. Of course, they go on and win the region, but in a lot of ways, they were sort of unlucky winners. Even though Lebanon ends up making it all the way to the state semis, I think if Beach and Lebanon play 10 times, Beach probably wins 6 or 7. Even though Lebanon got them, and that's part of it, right?
Yes.
But Ravenwood, I believe, hosting Lebanon might have looked a little bit different, but that's not to take anything away from Beach or Lebanon.
No, heck no. I think you're right. I think they win 7 or 8, maybe 9. I thought it from the beginning. I think it hurt Ravenwood and Independence. I think Independence was better suited for Beach, and I think Ravenwood was better suited for Lebanon. Now, maybe that's stupid.
I thought the chance to win 2, this might have been the better setup, but to win 1, yours might have been, your thinking might have been better, and it's probably just wishful thinking on my part. I was wanting to win 2.
Well, and we're getting ready to get into it, but let me tell you something. Beach was just happy to get out of there with a win.
No question. In fact, I thought that Ravenwood, and you were there at that game, great crowd. Coach Hester and the coaches wearing jerseys, and I know you had to make some special things happen for some of that to go to go through. But it was pretty nice that they were in there with the student section. And listen, you got to call people out when they deserve it. The Ravenwood student sections for basketball games this year has been abysmal compared to what they usually are.
Right.
But they stepped it up.
They were there that
particular
game.
night. They made a difference that night. So you got to give them credit for being there that night. I thought the pace of the game was perfect for Ravenwood. They're down 11-10 at the end of 1, 24-22 at the half. But that first 4 or 5 minutes of the third quarter where it got a little fast and Beach gets out, I think, 29-22, eventually get that thing all the way up to a 12-point lead before Ravenwood makes a great comeback at the end. That one segment probably got them beat. But listen, everybody goes through 3 or 4 minute segments in a game where it's not perfect. But when you play somebody who's probably better than you, let's call it what it is.
That's right.
It really makes it tough.
It does. And you mentioned they were down 2 at the half, and Lee Millette, who has, as you mentioned, had just been willing them to wins, had gotten into foul trouble. And, you know, had he not sat as much as he did in the first half, I don't know that doesn't look different. No,
I agree
we had
with
some
you.
guys come in, and my man Evan Gaynor came in. We got to start calling him the microwave. He came in, boom, steal, disruptive, come down, assist, scored 2. Smallest guy on the court.
He was the only non-senior to score.
Yeah, he played great minutes. And just energy, man. But anyways, I think that looks a little bit different if Lee doesn't get in foul trouble. And they were, you know, I mean, those could have gone either way.
Well, and what makes that tough, and this happens, and I'm not critiquing Coach Whitlock for this, he said 2 fouls, you're out. A lot of people do that. But even when the second half started, Lee, to me, never looked in rhythm.
Right. He did at the end.
He did, made a big steal at the end.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. So there's 5 minutes to go. They're down 12. Ravenwood ratchets up the heat. Ratchets up the heat.
I like that.
They ratcheted up the heat. They turned up the heat, right? And then Beach got into a little bit of the, let's try to get the game over. They weren't really looking to score. And then the next thing you know, Ravenwood's got this thing down to 4. They get a steal. Millette, intentional foul, and they get the ball back. Lee hits 1 of 2 to cut it to 3, and then DJ Starr, a nice drive to the basket. Missed the layup, a little contact there, but probably jumped away from the contact a little bit. And now there's 45 seconds left, and you got a foul, and Beach hits their free throws and it's over. But if you would have told Coach Whitlock before the game, hey, you're going to be on the free throw line. Millett's got 2 free throws, you're down 4. He's got 2 free throws and you're going to get the ball. He would have probably taken it.
He would have said, deal. And he made an unbelievable layup before that one.
He did.
I mean, it was really nice. So, and what about Andrew Lamuno, man?
Great game.
Great game. 18 points, and it was a. I mean this in a as complimentary as it can be. It was a quiet 18. You know, I remember. I knew he played well. I knew he was double digits, but when I saw that later on that night that he had 18, I was like, wow, I didn't know he had 18. Played really well.
And I thought going into the game, he had to play well for them to have a chance, and he certainly did. DJ Starr, another senior who was here for 1 year, 11 points. Jake Mulder, a name that we've said over and over, going to play at Trevecca, 10 points. And, of course, Millette we talked about, 8 points. 23-10 to finish the season. Congratulations to Coach Whitlock and his squad. And I think a little bit different, though, compared to Indy. Indy goes to Lebanon. They get beat 65-57. But Ravenwood had 5 seniors starting. If you take a look at Indy, they've got a quality point guard coming back. He's a freshman, but he was a sub, but he was 6 man.
Yeah.
They'll have a point guard. They've got Jet Montgomery, who'll be a junior, who can absolutely fill it up. And then you've got your post player, Matthew Witt, coming back. So even though Ravenwood's got some pieces, don't feel sorry for Ravenwood. They've got Gaynor. They've got some other guys too. But I think Indy leaves that game with Lebanon feeling a little different than Ravenwood, because Ravenwood was sort of building towards this, whereas Indy had 4 straight losing seasons. And they got a lot of these guys coming back.
Yeah, you're right. Don't forget, we live in the world now. You were the first one to say it at the beginning of the year of the basketball season. Don't forget, we live in the world now where the transfer portal, I'm using that term loosely, is alive and well. The way people are moving in here.
Yeah, you don't know.
You know, you never know. Ravenwood is a very appealing destination when people are moving.
It is. And let's face it, they do as good a job as anyone of promoting their school.
Yep.
And a lot of times that's all you go by. You look at the work that Christian Taylor does, taking pictures and doing graphics, and it matters.
And they do a good job of juggling multi-sport athletes, football and basketball guys. So who knows, man? He might reload.
If he does, don't call me. Independence, again, 65-57 at Lebanon. They were trying to get back to the state tournament for the first time since 2017 after those 4 consecutive losing seasons. They were up 20-16 at the end of the first, but that second quarter was really the difference. Lebanon ends up outscoring Independence 19-9. They take a 6-point lead at the half, and that's where it kind of stayed. Independence couldn't really get it any closer than that. They had it down to 5, I think, to start the fourth quarter. But Lebanon kept them at bay just enough. And listen, Lebanon has 2 legit Division I basketball players. The one young man I don't think is going to go that level, but he could. And then they've got another young man who I think is committed to Tennessee, verbally
junior,
committed. Yeah.
I think that's Hall. Isn't it?
Good player. Good player.
Good player. Really good player. Good basketball team. Long.
And Jim McDowell does a nice job coaching them. He does. He does. First trip to the region final and first trip to the state tournament, makes it all the way to the semifinals. So
kind of like Coach Whitlock. There was some, you know, I hate to use that word, but there were some monkeys that he had on his back that he wanted off. They both got him off this year. You know, happy to see that for both of them.
No doubt.
And just like Coach Whitlock is, Coach McDowell, I don't know. I've never had any coaches not like him. A lot of people were very happy for McDowell. A lot of people were happy for Whitlock. Pretty cool.
Very well said. Independence and Coach Wilkins in the year 25-9. Montgomery 21 in that game. Owen Reese 16. Matthew Witt 11. So you look at that scoring there. 32 of those 48 points are back. Ravenwood, I mentioned 4 guys. They're all gone. But they can build that team around Gaynor. I mean, I believe in Gaynor, too. He's a young man that you can build, and he will be the leader next year, too, in my opinion.
No question.
As a junior.
No question. Give him the ball.
He's tough.
Coach Wilkins didn't get the memo. Did the county AD not send it?
Which was?
When you take over a job, that's had 4 losing seasons in a row. You don't come in and win 25 and go get a bad second quarter away of going to the state tournament.
That's right.
Win 12, 15. I'm kidding.
I'll tell you this now. I don't want to put any pressure on Coach Wilkins because I know he's watching.
The
by
bullseye's on him.
I'm telling you, it's state tournament or bust next year, Coach Wilkins.
Didn't get the memo.
He's done a great job. Gosh, we're so happy to have him. It's been great.
He wants the bullseye.
He wants the bullseye. All right, Tate, I think we need to end with maybe going over our winner picks. And during we had some picks. Again, we'll remind the audience out there. You were up 1 going into this, what we thought was the final week. We had some differences. When it comes to the boys sectionals, I picked Milan. But I also picked Ravenwood. So we had a wash there, so we're still tied. Now let's go to the girls' state tournament bracket. I had Page taking it to the end. You had Greenville taking it to the end.
What a stinker Greenville was. Jeez.
Nothing happened there. But then the first round, you had Fayette Ware beating Creekwood. Way to go, Creekwood. They won. So I go 6-5, you go 5-6. And we end up 30-17. So we can't leave this thing a tie, can we?
Absolutely not. This isn't a participation contest.
Here's your certificate. Thanks for being here.
Here's your ribbon.
Well, I mean, it's. I know it's not WCS, but you and I have agreed that we go to the greatest tournament that there is.
Yes.
And that's the NCAA tournament, March Madness. We'll talk about the men's tournament.
Okay.
Women's tournament, that'd be fine too, but we may maybe use that for another tiebreaker if we need to. So we're going to go through West, East, South, and Midwest. I don't know why it's not North, but
Yeah, what's that all about?
So in the West, we're going to pick who we think will make the Final Four. If we're not tied after this one, it's over. If it's tied, we'll have to do something else.
Yes, and I think that will definitely separate it if this doesn't.
Yes.
I'm guessing there's some differences here.
Well, I'll start.
Okay.
In the West, I'm going to go Mr. Timmy and the Zags, Gonzaga in the Final Four.
Not Timmy.
Right.
Timme.
Yes. Drew Timmy.
Drew. Sweet, very nice moustache. But not the best moustache in the tournament.
That belongs to
Eddard.
Don't remind me.
From
The guy from St. Peter's.
I got off track. I had to Google where is St. Peter's. Did you know?
No, Jersey City.
Jersey City.
I found out, believe me.
So did, that's right, sorry. The differences do not start here. I'm with you. I'm going in the West. I'm going with the Zags, Gonzaga.
The East, who do you have?
The Boilermakers of Purdue.
No. That's the South.
That's the South? Oh, then Houston?
That's right.
Houston, Kelvin Sampson. Coach, you missed the clown show of the week by about that much with that. Keep your shirt on. Hey, I hope you make it to the Final Four. Do me a favor. If you're going to take your shirt off in the celebration, make sure the CBS cameras are out of there. I mean, you scared the viewers about as much as I did on the beach last week.
So you've got Houston.
Yes.
I'm going with Mick Cronin and UCLA. They lost that heartbreaker last year in the Elite Eight, I think, to Gonzaga.
Cronin is a maniac.
He's a maniac. I'm going Cronin.
Okay. I'm going with the Cougs.
So we've got a difference there. The South, we've got another difference, apparently, because you're picking Purdue, I guess, in the South?
The Boilermakers.
I'm going with my man Jay Wright and Villanova. I think they might win it.
He's been there before.
I like their squad. They are, and as Charles Barkley said, and I love Barkley as an announcer.
I do too.
He said, he's the one that said, Kelvin Sampson, keep your shirt on. But he said, the thing about Villanova, he said the game can actually be played below the rim. He said they play below the rim, but they're so well coached, so fundamentally sound. Man, are they fun to watch.
They are, but they're not making it. Purdue is. The Boilermakers.
There's two differences, okay? Villanova, Purdue. And then the Midwest, you're going with?
Coach Self, Rock Chalk, Kansas.
I'm going Adidas and Coach
3 stripes.
Self as well, and that their bracket's pretty open. I feel pretty confident in them and Gonzaga, which means they'll both probably lose.
Don't say that.
Never know about that tournament. All right, so we'll see if those two end up being some kind of separation.
Biggest upset? I'm not just asking this. Is the biggest upset St. Mary's? I mean,
St. Peter's?
St. Peter's.
Yeah, it'd have to be 2 versus 15. Tough day for the Cats.
Tough day for the Cats. Tough day for the Vols.
It was tough.
Auburn.
Anybody that got to do a little trash talking to me didn't get to talk very long because it was most of my Tennessee buddies. I'm like, that ended fairly quickly. When
I hope you enjoyed your 16 hours.
Flag football, Tate. We have and appreciate Lance and Creed and the crew here. We're going to live stream the Flag Football Media Day. That's getting started next week, so we'll talk about that. Got a full slate of games next Sunday.
I've been hearing some chatter from some athletes, but mostly the coaches. Been hearing some chatter. You got any? You want to step out on a limb and predict maybe an early champion, or you want to wait on that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I don't know if they know.
Boy, they sure think they know.
Well, let's follow that up. Do you have a?
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready quite yet, but I'm hearing things. I can tell you this. I feel like maybe we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but if you're wondering if the Battle of the Wood will have the same intensity, the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Importance as maybe that football game, it will. Man, they're already sharpening.
I think there's going to be great crowds. And it's going to be definitely big time covered by the media.
They will both be there to win.
I can't wait.
It's going to be fun.
Coach Evans versus Coach Hester to get this thing started.
And Coach Norfleet.
And
he and Evans.
And Mancini.
Yeah.
Love her being involved. That's what it's about. Listen, if we're going to have flag football for girls, we need some women involved. And Coach Beebe out at Franklin involved. We talked about that. I think it's important.
Very
It's
important.
Hey, but I thought it was important that our tackle football coaches were involved to get it started.
No
it
doubt.
gives it, when I tell people about it and I mention who's coaching, it's immediate legitimacy.
Well, there's 2 state championship winning. Hey, nothing will make me happier than if we get there and Hester and Mancini have headsets on. They're on opposite ends of the sideline.
That'd be great. Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Can a coach get I'm sure you can. Can you get a sideline warning? Can you get a?
Yes. We got officials.
This is going to be classic.
It's going to be fun, man. Can't wait. Just another thing that WCS is doing that no one else is.
Pioneer.
Appreciate the Titans and TSSAA asking us.
Yes. But
In all seriousness.
They knew where it would be taken serious, done well.
Appreciate your involvement with the uniforms too, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They're sharp.
Yeah, the girls, the young ladies are going to look really good.
Can't wait. Tate, appreciate you being here.
You too, brother. See you next week. Cheering for the Cougars and the Boilermakers, big time. Need some help.
Appreciate it.
Don't even know what to say.
I will say this. Thank you for joining us again for Sports Connection, and we look forward to seeing you next time.